Hey everybody, McKyler here real quick to remind you to go check out our Patreon. We've got 7 bonus episodes up there right now and an 8th one coming up soon. If that's something that sounds fun to you, go sign up at patreon.com/doing learning. Hope to see you over there. Welcome to Doing Learning, everybody. It's me, McKyler, and I'm here with my good pal, Daniel. Hello, Daniel.
Hello, folks.
We're very serious tonight, aren't we?
More serious
Suddenly.
than not serious,
Oh,
which makes us very serious.
yeah. And why is that, Daniel?
Because the lava lamp is not fun yet.
That is true.
It's still on its awakening phase.
I think it's going to get there, though. I did have the forethought to actually turn it on
There we go.
before we started recording, so I think we'll get there.
It'll get there. So as the you guys will verbally hear the. Oh my gosh, how do I say
The
this?
vibes of the lava lamp will come through our voices.
There we go.
Yeah, you will hear the vibes of the lava lamp.
As we get more energetic, that means the lava lamp is in full steam ahead.
So we say that, Daniel. I'm not sure that's how this episode is gonna go. Because I still haven't told you the topic. No, he doesn't know anything, everybody. About the episode. Maybe some other things he knows. Sorry.
I was gonna double down on him. Like, you're right.
That's why I have to learn you, Daniel. I always start with a disclaimer. I guess I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. It's just a thing. I'm going to do it again tonight, I guess. The background of my experience with my research this week was all over the place. So I found something and I'm like, wow, this is a captivating story. I'm going to tell you a story again tonight.
Okay.
And then it's going to be a lot of stories, and then it's going to be some swirly discussion. I think it kind of exploded on me a little bit. I was like, okay, cool. Here's a 10-minute video. I'm like, that's really fun. I'm going to research that. And then I'm like, you know what? I need a little bit more background on that. So I read a book. So since Sunday, I read a book.
Geez, the amount of research you do. I'm like, I'm going to read this paragraph or this like little clipping, and then I'm going to watch a video on it. And I'm like, oh, that's good. I've done a lot of research. And then, so I read a novel, and not only that, but now I'm an expert and I wrote a dissertation on it.
I think you give me way too much credit. For the record, the book, it was just over like 6 hours. It's a pretty short it was an audiobook. I did an audiobook. It's fine. It still counts as reading. It was only like 6 hours, so I was able to bust through it. But I started it on like Sunday or maybe Monday. So like Monday morning before I saw you that afternoon, like I was a little ways into the video into the book. I'm like, okay, I gotta finish this, but I'll get into that captivating book. Incredible. I'll recommend it later. But the more that I read the book, the more it like completely changed my mind on how I wanted to frame this discussion. And I'm like, I'm saying nothing, but I'm saying a lot right now. You'll kind of see where I'm getting at. But like, we like to goof around and have a good time here. And I picked like a story that I thought was really goofy at the beginning. And I'm like, wow, this is crazy. Like I'm going to tell the story. We're going to laugh. We're going to do some other things. Mm-hmm. And then I did all the background research on it. And I'm like, this is tragic. Oh, this is so tragic. So then I'm like wrestling with myself of how do I still tell this story, make it fun, but like take it seriously enough to where we're not laughing at the wrong things.
Right. So,
that's what I've been wrestling with this week.
Okay.
And we're going to kind of work through it together. There's a big crazy thing called life. Yeah. And it's got its good times. It's got its bad times. Human history is long and there's been a lot of tragedy. So it's just part of life.
Yeah.
So, I think that's all I really want to say about that.
Okay.
And, so when we laughed tonight and we were making fun of stuff, we'll just be careful what we make fun of.
Okay.
Right. So let's start like this, Daniel. I always make you play the guessing game because you're very good at it. I am awful at it. I think when you play, it's very fun. When I play, I think it's really not fun.
I don't remember the last time I played the guessing game.
Dude, you play it like every episode. What do you mean? I always make you guess stuff. I think I make you guess during your episodes too. It's just like a natural part of the show. I just can't help it. All right, Daniel. So I'm going to give you a list of things. And you tell me how you think that they're related. Okay.
The ocean.
Well, I'm going to make the list, but that's not on the list, by the way, but I like it. Okay. I do like the ocean. Okay. John Stetson.
I know it's Stetson.
Uh-huh. The cowboy hats, right? Or
Well,
are you saying something else?
No, I know an actual guy named Stetson.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I wonder if he's related to John Stetson, the guy who made the cowboy hat.
I doubt it because his first name is Stetson.
Yeah, I agree then. I mean, maybe.
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 But yes, I know the cowboy hats.
The cowboy hat guy. Okay, cowboy hat guy. New Mexico.
Okay, it's still cowboyish.
World War One.
Cowboys in. Okay.
Vampires.
Oh, Transylvania. Okay.
Fashion.
Okay.
New England. Let's see if I can add anything more to the list. I'm trying to make it as difficult as I can. I think that's a pretty good list. What do you think all those things have in common?
You said New England, World War One.
Uh-huh.
You said vampires. The Stetson hat fashion.
Uh-huh.
Right.
New Mexico.
And New Mexico. Well, New Mexico has aliens. Vampires are pretty mythical.
Uh-huh.
Cowboys can be seen as mythical.
Kind of, yeah.
Let's see. England and World War One, very I'm gonna go on mythical stuff because they're
okay.
Or very, I mean, fashion. I know, throw fashion out because I'm not a very fashionable person. I think you just threw that in there for like a wrench in the.
No. It's part of it. I swear.
I don't know. I just feel like they definitely. If I had more time to think about it, I bet you I could make more connections.
Yeah.
But right now, I'm just thinking of like very almost out there things. Because England, there's a big fashion stuff in England, and maybe they do fashions around vampires and UFOs and stuff like that.
All right.
And World War One, I mean, yeah.
I love where your head's at.
It is not.
You're so wrong. You're never gonna get it right anyway. I think that's why it's fun for me.
What would happen if I did get it right?
If you got it right,
like,
I
nailed
don't
it on
know.
the head.
There would be hooting and hollering, and
the audience would be like, "Yeah, he knows the subject."
There would be like an awkward silence for a while, or just like us yelling in the background as we're stomping around the room because I would have been so wildly impressed. So you're totally wrong. What they have in common is tuberculosis. Which
vampires have TB?
No. So you can see now kind of why I gave such a long preface about like I'm going to tell you some weird stories and they're going to be kind of fun and funny and stuff like that. But like tuberculosis is it's still a big deal.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know if I know anybody that has suffered TB. And even in my family history, and I don't know about your family as well. We're very privileged in the United States that it's not very prominent here anymore. It very, very, very much used to be. But I learned a lot about it that was very, very humbling. It's the world's most, it's the deadliest disease. And historically of all time, it's like the most infectious. It's taken the most lives. It has influenced. It's touched everyone's lives, probably more than anything. Even today, 25% of all people in the world have the bacteria that causes tuberculosis in their bodies. 25% of
That's a
everyone.
Huge percentage.
Yes, it's crazy. The thing is with it is just the amount of cases that actually convert into an active case.
Mm-hmm.
That's where it doesn't, that's where it doesn't like show up all the time.
Gotcha.
Right? But it's in most people's bodies. Probably less so in the United States and more so in other countries. And that's for a lot of other reasons that are very real, but I don't want to make the topic of this show.
Right.
Of just like medical, everything medicine, everything treatment, access to medicine, inequalities and injustice with that.
Mm-hmm.
It's very real. But it's not the topic.
Okay.
But it's why I completely changed my mind on how I wanted to broach this. So
Gotcha.
the book that I read, and since we're talking about like kind of the serious aspects of this, we'll talk about it up front. The book that I read was called Everything is Tuberculosis by John Green.
Wait, the same guy that did like Paper Towns?
Maybe. He wrote
or am
The Fault in Our Stars.
That one.
Turtles All the Way Down. He wrote some other stuff too.
Yeah.
Yes, him.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's really funny when he's a very, very cool dude. Very reasonable, logical human being.
Sorry, I just
You're the wrong guy.
No. He did write Paper Towns, but he also wrote Looking for Alaska.
Yeah.
Fantabulous book.
Yep. So it's him. So he just recently wrote this when it came out this year.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so,
I mean, great author. I mean, I grew up reading him a lot.
Phenomenal. So. I was enchanted by the way that he wrote, and it's nonfiction. Maybe Looking for Alaska was too, or was that fiction?
As far as I know, I don't think it's nonfiction, but I don't know.
Anyway, this one was nonfiction, and I found it extremely captivating. So there you go. I'm a nerd, but I think he did an excellent job of doing a lot of very interesting, fun stories that we're going to kind of go through, and some other ones that he didn't talk about. But then he goes and actually does like a real life historical breakdown of different areas and how tuberculosis is treated and how the history of its medicinal aspects of it. Very, very, very good book. I highly recommend it. Opened my eyes to a lot of stuff I had no idea about. So that's what I'll be leaning on for like the real life aspects of the disease. Mm-hmm. Some weird facts about tuberculosis, some stats.
Okay.
Every year, 1,250,000 people globally will die of tuberculosis.
Wow.
Which is a lot. Again, it's the number one cause of death from an infectious disease. Mm-hmm. It has been for all of human history, except for COVID for 2 years.
Yeah.
And that was it. And I mean, COVID's still around, but and then right away, boom, TB came back and topped it. Once, whatever, we figured some stuff out there, right. And it kind of spread, whatever. Virology is weird. Anyway, over the course of human history, there have been approximately 117 billion people ever on planet Earth.
117 billion. Okay.
Yeah. Right. Right now there's like 8 billion people alive on Earth currently. So, okay. All of human history. Of those, 1 billion of them have died because of TB, which is like, it's by far and away the most deadly infectious disease. Yeah,
that's crazy. That's like 1/8 of people just disappeared right now.
Yep. Yeah. So it's crazy. It'll get crazier as I kind of explain a few things about it.
Okay.
But like, yeah, so sorry for like all the seriousness up front, but like that was wild to me because it sounds like an archaic disease, like something from, centuries past and things like that. Like you read about it in books, maybe.
Yeah. And I mean,
from classics.
Yes. How do I still hear about it every now and then? But it's not like, it's not making front page news. It's not like media outlets. It's not like, hey, this, like, Yeah, I'm very interested because I've definitely heard about it. I've definitely, and like I'm like you, like unless somebody hit it very well for me, like I don't know any of my friends or close family members that have gone through it.
Yep. He leads the book with this with a quote that a friend told him about like how that feels, like our relationship with it is nothing is so privileged as thinking history belongs to the past, which is really interesting. It's not it's still very much a thing today.
Man, that's a good quote though, because that can apply to a lot of
things, right?
Yeah.
So again, the book it's beautifully written. It's almost like it's like nonfiction meets kind of poetry, and then also a story, and it's kind of funny and but it's still serious. And it's just, it doesn't really dance on either side of like, it's not inflammatory. It's not like overly flourished and things like that. It's just the truth. And I find that really very interesting and kind of beautiful in and of itself.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's the book. I think you should go read it.
Yeah. Everything is Tuberculosis, right?
Yep. If you listen to the audiobook, he reads it, which I find very nice because you get to hear exactly how he wanted it written,
right?
Which I think is very cool.
Right.
Anyway, I think we should talk about the fun parts of it.
Okay.
And then the seriousness, whatever, it'll sprinkle back in. So come back, everybody. We're going to have some fun. Let's go through some of my stories. So you can, in a way, attribute tuberculosis to a few of these things, right? Like it's one small factor. That's like the point of his book. Everything is Tuberculosis is that like it's so pervasive in human history and history and present and everything that it kind of has something to do with everything. That's his point. So let's talk about John Stetson. So homie was doing his thing in the cowboy times, right? We're talking mid to late 1800s, right? Again, he was an East Coast dude who had tuberculosis.
Okay.
And so at the time, the treatment was go out west to where the air is clear and dry, and it's good for your lungs, and that's how you will heal. So this is kind of fun as Colorado history. That's why Colorado Springs got founded. I believe it's a lot why Estes and the Stanley Hotel are a thing.
Because of FO and FE. The owners.
What are their names?
That's their initials.
That's their initials?
Yeah. I can't remember.
FO and FE? That's fun.
And FO was, you can remember because he's the FO owner of the Stanley Hotel. And every day he would go and hike the mountain.
Yeah.
Because he says that the same thing. He came to West because they told him like it's better out here, and they expected him to X amount of time, and he fell in love with the land, hiked all the time, and he says he seemed to get better. Yeah.
So and that's kind of the thing with it, and why it's so weird. I think that's interesting. So let's linger on that for just a second. Tuberculosis is very weird, and that's kind of why a lot of these stories happened in this way. At least one of them we'll get to. They really didn't know what it even was. They just kind of knew at that time. They called it consumption because it kind of consumed your body.
Okay.
It's like slowly over time, you just kind of got eaten away from the inside. It's really kind of gruesome. Really, really terrible, horrible disease. So they called it consumption. And they really didn't know how it worked, but they knew it kind of affected the lungs. And so, that was the idea, was go out west, go where the air is clear, because it worked because you're going out into the rural areas where it was more difficult for it to spread because it was considered like a city disease. But that's because that's where all the people were. It's not very clean. There's more areas where it has, room to grow, like factories and places where people are either working really hard or are impoverished in some way. Their malnutrition is a big factor, right? Lowering your immune system, you're more likely to get it. You're more likely to spread it. So the cities were huge areas where tuberculosis was like, you know, like hives.
Right.
And so that's why they would say, go out west,
Like,
or they would say, go
get out of the exposure, basically.
Yes. If you get out of the exposure, your things are going to get better and transmission is going to be way lower. So that's kind of one of the reasons. The other thing that I think why Colorado Springs and why Estes are things is the air is drier, and tuberculosis is kind of it's gross, like a wet condition of your lungs. You know what I mean? Like that's part of it. So actually drying your lungs out does help. That and the lack of oxygen. The bacteria that causes tuberculosis loves oxygen. And so if you deprive it of oxygen, it will die or have a hard time spreading. So if you come to Colorado where there's less oxygen,
right,
it may die off a little bit and you may get a little bit better.
Question.
Yeah.
So if you, let's just say, starve your body of oxygen, could you eliminate it? I know it's a risky thing because then you're risking your life.
Yeah, I don't know that I don't think it'd be that surefire. I think it's tougher than that, but it does help. That's eventually what they like. You got to find a way to deprive it of oxygen without depriving yourself of oxygen. Because it's going to be tougher than you. I mean, there's just more stuff, and you'd have to kill all of it, right? That's
right, because otherwise it's going to just come back.
Yeah, exactly. So eventually, when they get drugs that do treat it, that's one of the ways that they do it is that it deprives, it targets the cells and deprives them of oxygen, and then will kill them off that way. So
that seems better than just trying to hold your breath.
Exactly.
For like 3
yeah,
minutes.
That's probably not gonna work. But I'm like, where your head's at? So anyway, that's why Estes is a thing. So Stetson, he goes out west to do that, to clear his self up, and he eventually does start feeling better, and to the point where he goes back east, and one of the things that he learns while he's out west is that the hats suck. And so he's like, I got to fix that. Because the problem is that the fur trappers, the hats were either really hot or gross because they're fur hats. Right.
Yeah.
And then the hats from like Mexican influence and that, like, whatever, that kind of more Southwest, whatever, they block the sun really well, but they were like straw, right?
Right.
And so if it rained, the water would just come through. And so he's like, I got to fix that, and it's got to look cool. So he made the cowboy hat. So tuberculosis, in a way, created the cowboy hat.
That's a cool aspect. Yeah. I mean,
in a way,
like if he hadn't, would the idea have came to him, right?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, if he hadn't made his way.
Tuberculosis, at least in some way, inspired the Stetson cowboy hat.
Yeah, yeah, specifically the Stetson, right? Because there's,
and then it grew from there. That was like the OG,
right? Really
good one. So while we're talking about moving out west, back in the day, right in the late 1800s, coming into the early 1900s, New Mexico was trying to become a state.
Okay.
And there's two things that you need to become a state: is enough people and enough people that want to become a state.
So,
which is pretty straightforward.
So if there's a bunch of people in that quote unquote not state,
yeah,
but none of them want the state to become a state,
then it just remains as a territory.
Huh.
Yeah. And then, there's a legal process of actually becoming a state.
Can that be revoked? Like if everybody like in Colorado decided not to be a state, can we just be a territory?
I think it's way more difficult than that. Yeah, there's some controversial weird stuff that a while back parts of Colorado wanted to become, and Wyoming wanted to become like the 51st state, or like become part of Wyoming instead. And it doesn't work like that. So yeah, it's more complicated than that, but
I'm sure it is, but it just thought.
I mean, last time that kind of happened, the Civil War was a thing. So you know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of a big deal. So anyway, so in order to have those two things, you need those two things in order to become a state. So New Mexico had almost enough people, and they didn't necessarily all want to become a state. Well, when there was tuberculosis outbreaks and there's a lot of people moving out west, they moved to New Mexico, where all of a sudden now you have the population to do it, and you have all these people coming from other states that, yeah, of course, they want, if they're going to be living in New Mexico, they want it to be a state too. They want to be living in the same country that they were before with the same rights and everything, right? So New Mexico was eventually ratified as a state because they had enough. They basically, like, their population increased to the point where 10% of the state's population were people that moved for tuberculosis treatment. 10%.
Oh man.
And so at that point, it pushed them over the threshold, and they became a state.
That's, I mean, cool, right?
Yeah, it's just like, oh, okay. So, yeah.
I mean, it was going to be an eventuality, right, of New Mexico, but it just kind of...
Yeah, more than likely.
Yeah, but it almost seems like tuberculosis fast-tracked it to be one.
Yeah, it really did. It really did. So I find that fascinating. I find that interesting. Let's talk about World War I now. We're jumping around because these are just fun little bite-sized stories. I say fun. Tuberculosis is not a hero. Like, like, it's kind of fun that, like, New Mexico became a state or whatever like that. There should be no thanking of tuberculosis for anything. It's awful.
It is, but it's almost seen like trying to stay positive in a not so positive place. Like, yeah, seeing the light in the darkness a little bit. Yeah. Like, yeah, this sucked, but we got something out of it at least. It wasn't all doom and gloom. There was a little bit of like, people were still pushing through it.
Yeah. Yep.
So,
at least for these ones.
Yes.
The other stories, maybe not so much.
And McKyler makes a liar out of me right away.
Right. So sorry. You're not wrong, but you will be. You don't have to be totally right. Okay. So the next one. So let's talk about World War I then. And again, not everything is cheery here, but I do find it incredibly fascinating. Daniel, are you familiar with the story of the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand? It's the event that kicked off World War I.
That name, like, it doesn't quite ring a bell. Yeah. For me, but it, like, the reminiscences of a bell that's been rung. Like,
I love that. Well, I'll walk you through the story then.
Perfect.
Because maybe everyone else hasn't heard this as well, because it is a crazy story, right? I mean, World War I, big deal, not very fun.
Yes.
Right. The way that it was kicked off was just, it was just ineptitude on ineptitude of this event that happened. And it makes you shake your head that, like, all the idiocy truly that involved the story that I'm about to tell you and what it kicked off, and, like, because of all the idiocy, it's just incredible. So anyway, let's get into it. So we're talking 1914, specifically June 28th. So we just somewhat recently passed the anniversary here. Archduke Franz Ferdinand and his wife Sophie were visiting, I don't even know how to say it, Sarajevo? I don't know. Whatever. He's Austrian Hungarian kind of guy, right? And it's like, this is Eastern European type stuff, right? So he basically announces, hey, I'm gonna go visit this city. And we're going to do, like, I'm going to be driving through my motorcade through the city. And this is the route I'm going to take. And I'm going to be in an open topped car and all this stuff, right? He basically says, hey, everybody, this is my plan. Well, he didn't have a whole lot of support from it's like Serbians and Bosnians. They didn't like him. So, I'm not going to get into all the details, just kind of the story. So they didn't like him. So six people, six Bosnian Serb assassins. That's fun. Were with a nationalist group who opposed him. They knew that he was coming into town. So they're like, cool, this is going to be easy.
Perfect.
We're going to take him out.
Yeah.
Really?
They're just like, you're going to announce it. You're going to have an open top car.
They said,
like,
they gave him the playbook, right?
Right.
So there's six guys, right? And there's like two groups of three basically that kind of like they ended up kind of all getting together and then they did this thing. And so they got it all planned out what the plan was going to be. They all carried three things with them. They all had a pistol. They had like a bomb, like grenades basically. And then they all had cyanide tablets. So basically the thing is they were going to take him out. And then they're going to take their cyanide pills, and that was going to be it, right? So they're going in, boom, and all chaos was going to break loose after that, right? And they're going to take care of themselves too. So that was the plan. So they all get all set up. They're in their spots for the parade. They're basically set up to where they have like a couple of attempts, like as they're all kind of spread out, right? And they all have like a try. If I remember right, like the first guy, like his grenade didn't work, or he lost it, or something, or his pistol didn't work, or something like that. It's like the first guy didn't get an attempt, like, and just all this other ineptitude. One guy, he finally does get an attempt, and he throws like his bomb or his grenade, and it misses his car and goes and blows up another one. So a different car and a bunch of people in the crowd get hurt.
Oh man.
And which is awful. And it bounced off the Archduke's car and exploded under the next car. So there you go. So then the Archduke is riding to like an official event. So that happens, and then they just continue on, basically get him to the event. Well, he was so touched, I guess, or I don't know. Anyway, he insisted after that event was done, he's like, we need to go visit with the people and like with the wounded and stuff like that, and kind of save face and like talk and kind of show that we're here. Which, okay, that's probably a pretty reputable move. That's okay. So he insisted, like, we got to go visit the wounded. And so his driver was not familiar with the town. And well, I guess I should say this. The guy that first, this matters a little bit. The guy that first, like the first guys that missed, that it didn't go well. The guy that he did get it to blow up, he tried to take his cyanide tablets. There wasn't enough to actually kill him. And so then he decided he's going to jump into a river. And so he makes the jump only to find out that the river is only 4 inches deep. Oh my gosh. And so he gets captured, right? And some of the other guys get captured too. But the rest of another group of three, like they hadn't been, they're still free and clear. Right. Because they're like, nothing happened. We're not implicated yet. Like nothing, we're going to kind of lay low. Right. So they're kind of laying low, doing their thing. Well, after this event, he wants to go visit the wounded. And his driver was not familiar with the town. And so they're like, we need to go over here. Well, during that, he makes the wrong turn, and they're like, oh shoot, we gotta turn around. So he comes to a stop and got to get the car turned around. Well, where they stop was right outside like a cafe where one of the assassins had been chilling out after the failed attempt and the parade and everything like that. He just so happened to be sitting there when they pull up and stop. Oh, and man. So at that point, he assassinates the Archduke. He shoots him, and then he tries to take his cyanide, but we know already at this point they didn't give themselves enough. Right. And so he lives, and they capture them, and they're all 6 of them are imprisoned. Right. So they caught the other 2 as well. Yeah, all 6 of them get captured. Okay. So I don't know exactly how that played out, whatever. Yeah. They're all captured. Well, this assassination, it kicks off World War I. right? So that's a thing. Boom, it starts.
But how so?
The opposing sides or whatever just got like, there was already a lot of build up tension and stuff like that we're glossing over. We're going way fast. So they were already mad at each other, and then this big event happened, and like it would be like if a U.S. official was somewhere else and then got assassinated in a foreign country, we'd be pretty upset about it, like that kind of thing.
Gotcha.
So anyway, that kicks it off, and at this point, they're all in prison, and they're all sentenced to like an execution or everything like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, the three of them, they never make it to the execution because like 2 months after that they were arrested, they died of tuberculosis in prison.
Oh, wow.
So the reason that they were so bold, the one that actually, his name was Gavrilo Princip. He's the one that actually did the assassination. Mm-hmm. He had tuberculosis. He had nothing to lose. And so that's one of the reasons why they were going through with this assassination attempt, is because they're like, I'm a dead man anyway. We might as well like stand up for this cause and do this thing, which is, it's awful.
Yeah.
But we're going to take this guy out because what's the worst thing that's going to happen to me? I'm a dead man anyway. So they had all this audacity to just carry through with it no matter what.
Yeah.
So when he saw him again, he's like, sweet, here's my opportunity. I'm taking it. And 2 months later, he was dead. So in a way, tuberculosis started World War I.
That's yeah.
In
I
a
mean,
way.
it played its part. It definitely played its part.
Absolutely played its part. Now, maybe somebody else would have stepped up or whatever, but the boldness of the people that actually carried it out had tuberculosis.
Yeah, they
and
did
that's
it
why
because
they were so
of it.
motivated.
Yeah.
At least is a huge factor into their motivations. Because you can be motivated for something, but you might not ever do anything.
Yeah.
But you take away some of the penalty.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're like, okay, we're going to do it. It's insane. So not a very funny story, but wild, just the incompetence of just like how many things went wrong that day for both sides.
Yeah.
It's really, truly incredible. So I thought you would get a kick out of that one too.
I'd fire that driver.
Yeah, I'm not sure he made it out that day too. I think he was part of the collateral. But
I'm sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I would fire him too.
Like, sorry, man.
What terrible luck though.
I know, right?
Like what he just turns down the wrong road and happens to stop in front of the building that this other guy was sitting at going, oh no, oh man, oh shoot, what are we going to do?
It must have been hours too, right?
Yeah.
Because like.
No, yeah, totally.
Jeez.
So just the fact that all lined up and then starts World War I is just the idiocy to the impact of what came out of it is just so out of whack.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, I don't know. It just makes me shake my head. So that's we're relating all these things back to tuberculosis, but there's a few that we're missing still. So I'm going to tell you about the Great Vampire Panic of New England, which we already know is related to tuberculosis somehow. I'm going to give another disclaimer right now for the folks. This is a crazy story. People did some wild stuff, and it's pretty barbaric and gross. So I apologize for that, but I find it it's just fascinating. Just a wild story. Okay. So let me pull up my notes. Okay. So we're talking late 1800s.
Okay.
We're talking New England, which is at the time there's cities and a lot of it's rural, right? New England, you've been to New England a little bit, right? I mean, you've been to New York City, but have you been like outside in the rest of the greater New England area much?
I mean, I've been in Maine, so we drove through all that.
No, that kind of counts. It counts. It's not like the original New England, right?
Yeah, but we definitely went out outside. what is it? I don't know. There was just one spot where we went to Dunkin' Donuts, and you know Dunkin' Donuts motto, right? America runs on Dunkin'.
Uh-huh.
Well, I just kept seeing everywhere New England runs on Dunkin'.
Okay.
And I was like, what is like? And my friend was like, oh, we're in New England. Like, this is what they do. I'm like, oh, okay, makes sense.
They're just really pandering to New England. Wow. So yeah, you've been there.
Yeah.
Did you find it creepy at all? Like the forests and kind of the climate and the darkness and just how dense it is?
Are you going to judge me if I say no?
No.
I found it beautiful.
Well, yeah, it certainly is. There it has a bit of a history for being a little bit creepy.
Mm-hmm. I can see it. I can definitely see it.
The right time of year, the right weather, things like that. Like it can be very foggy, very cold,
right,
dark.
I mean, there's lighthouses everywhere and the forest. Yeah.
And I think maybe Maine is a little bit kind of out of it, but I drove around in Pennsylvania a little bit, and like you could kind of see where they're getting at.
Right.
Because there's so many trees just around like everywhere, and you can't see through them or anything. Like it's very dense. So anyway, you know, a lot of the really crazy history of like the New England area, like the Salem witch trials, like everything, like all this weird kind of paranormal type stuff.
Yeah.
And like kind of the mystical aspect is very New England.
Mm-hmm.
So this is no exception. So we're talking late 1800s. So we already know at the time that tuberculosis is huge.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, like in the world, well, at this point it's a little bit better, but the life expectancy, especially in the areas that dealt with tuberculosis, the life expectancy was like less than 30 through most of like through a good chunk of the 1800s even. Like it's crazy that like even if you look back historically of just like the founding fathers and stuff like that, like when they did all their crazy stuff, they were not very old, a lot of them.
Yeah.
And like some of them were, right, they do get there, but in general, and they were rich too, most of them.
Right.
That helps a lot with keeping you alive longer. I'll say that.
Yeah.
Most of the world, the average lifespan is less than 30 years old, which is crazy. And tuberculosis is a big reason for it. Yeah.
I just can't imagine, like,
yeah,
dude,
you'd be done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
I don't like that.
I don't either. I'm just like, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So thank goodness that we've kind of figured that out. And we're lucky enough to live in a time where life expectancy is a lot better because of medicine and other things and access to food and all this stuff. So anyway, these guys didn't have that. So during that time, I'm talking late 1800s, consumption was a big thing and they didn't understand it.
Right.
I've already kind of explained that. And so there was kind of the aspects of how the disease works really confused people that they didn't know what it was.
Right.
So people would just get sick out of nowhere and then take like a really, really long time. Like they'd be sick for a very, very long time and then pass away, or they might be just barely sick. And all of a sudden, bam, right? It just hits them. Sometimes it comes out of the blue and boom, like within a month, you're gone. Right. So it seemed really, really inconsistent.
Yeah.
One of the things, like, and of course it's a contagious disease, so it would spread through families, but at the time they thought it was more genetic. Like in some ways they thought it was like something that's passed down. And that's other places in the world, and something that the book talks about that doesn't necessarily apply here, but I find that fascinating too, that they thought it was I'll briefly talk about it, of like why, like a lot of famous writers and poets, and I'm talking mostly like European and American, like authors, musicians, writers, poets, whatever, a lot of famous ones died of tuberculosis. And so they kind of attributed like their creative successes and kind of that like tortured artist thing with tuberculosis. And so they're like, well, of course they're going to be passing away from consumption because they were born with this genetic disposition to be an artist, which also means you're going to have the genetic predisposition to have consumption and to die that way. But that's not what it was. It was a bacteria.
Right. That's bizarre in itself to make those connections and correlations, I guess. So
if I have a little bit of time later too, I'll talk about the romanticization of tuberculosis, of consumption, because it's fascinating. We'll touch on it at the end.
Okay.
So over here, a lot of people were passing away from consumption, and we'll talk about one really, really famous story. It's the most popular famous story of this area. And the reason being is because, this happened in like 1892, and there was a lot of writings about this vampire panic.
Okay.
But nothing was ever confirmed until like decades later. Some kid or something was playing in the hills of New England or whatever, and came upon like an unearthed casket, which apparently is fairly common in the Northeast, because it's old, and that's how they used to bury people, is kind of close to the surface and wherever they needed to at the time, which is just mind blowing to me.
Shallow graves everywhere.
Yeah.
Gosh.
And so they found, this is crazy. So this is where my disclaimer kicks in, why it's so interesting. They found the first confirmed case that kind of confirmed these stories. So they found this casket, and like whatever, they got to take care of it. In doing so, they unearth it a little bit to figure, like, you got to do something else with it, I guess, at this point. So they do that. The top of the coffin is studded with the guy's initials, JB or something like that. And for whatever reason, I can't explain it, Daniel, I don't know. They open it up.
Curiosity, dude. It's always curiosity.
And what they find is not just a skeleton in repose like it should be. They find it desecrated, with the rib cage broken open, the skull removed from the body and put face down in the center of the rib cage, and the femurs crossed in an X below the rib cage.
Wait, what?
Yeah. So
okay, like the whole rib thing, when you were first describing it, I was like, okay, I can see that. I can see, and then the head, and then okay,
so very weird, right?
Yes.
Well, this was a ritualistic thing that they would do back in this time to basically combat evil spirits. So let's get into the story.
Okay,
it's gonna be like that. It's crazy. So let's talk about the Mercy Brown case, because JB was one of somebody Brown, whatever. Okay. And so that's why it's the most famous case. So this guy, his name probably was John Brown. I don't even know. This guy lived a tragic life. And so the Brown family, let me scroll down. Here we go. We're in Exeter, Rhode Island. Okay. So we're in Rhode Island. What is his name? Yeah, I'm going to call him John.
I'm going to call him John.
His wife passed away from consumption in 1882, and followed just a couple years later by one of his daughters in 1884, just 2 years later. Really, really awful. And then a decade later, he still had two children, a boy and a girl, Edwin and Mercy. And they just suddenly got sick of consumption as well. And it looked like Edwin got sick first. The boy got sick first. And then like he looked like he was kind of slowly getting worse, whatever. And then very, very suddenly Mercy got sick and passed away, like boom, like it happened really, really fast. And so within the span of like 10 years, the guy lost his wife and 2 daughters, and his son was sick with consumption as well. Super, super tragic.
Right.
But he's living in a small town in Exeter. And so they're looking at this and they're like, this is weird. This is suspicious. There is something going on with John Brown.
Mm-hmm.
And so once Mercy ends up passing away from consumption, and they're like, and then Edwin is not getting any better.
Right.
And so the town basically starts pressuring John to take care of this. And so this is what they thought was going on. They thought that, so they never used the word vampire. The journalists use the word vampire.
Right.
So they never used that word. But they did think that there was some kind of like evil spirit or some kind of, some being that was using the corpses of old family members as like a home.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there coming and stealing like the life force out of the family members that they're related to, right? So that's why everybody's getting sick, is because there's an evil spirit that's living in the corpse of your passed away loved ones,
right,
that is returning to feed on your family. So, it's crazy. Crazy. So again, this is the creepy Northeast, right, when they didn't know anything that was going on. Very small town, so lots of pressure. So this is what they would do. I already told you about the desecration of the corpses.
Right.
So what they would do then is they would exhume the family members, and they would go through people that died of consumption, and they were looking for signs, I'm doing air quotes, signs that their body was being like used as a host, right, for this spirit. And so what they would be looking for is a body that like hadn't decomposed, that was actually like swollen. And so they said that they were swollen because they were feeding off of the living.
Oh, right.
And that their fingernails had grown and their hair had grown, which happens when people decompose, because the skin gets tighter. We know this now. Yes. So they would look for that. And then the other thing that they would look for is blood around the mouth, which for whatever reason was very, very common with people that pass away from consumption. It's just something that happens. Yeah. But when you put all those together, then they're like, okay, this is it. The other thing that they would look for, the dead giveaway, so to speak, that they had found what they were looking for, is if there was liquid blood in the heart, which all of this is so completely savage. Yeah. So they exhume all of John's family.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's hard enough already just putting them.
No kidding. Can you imagine the trauma this guy went through? And the whole town is like, dude, this is what you have to do. Yeah. No thanks, right? Yeah. But eventually the pressure of a small town gets to him. Right. And he approves of the exhumation. Right. Well, his wife and the first daughter that passed away 10 years ago, they're not the ones, because their bodies have decomposed. It's been long enough. Right. But his daughter Mercy is a prime candidate for exactly what they're looking for. So, wow. I'm so sorry. This is like the most PG-13 episode. Real story though.
And I know you guys can't see, and I'm not saying much, but I'm just like, I'm like nodding in disapproval. I'm just like,
it's insane. Yeah. This not okay.
And I don't know if it's coming through all my like But I'm like,
you need to be more exasperated, please, Daniel.
Because like I'm just like face palming, like, are you guys kidding me? Like this is me voicing what I'm actually feeling, guys. Because like I just realized that I'm just you can see what I'm doing.
I can see it,
but they can't. So.
Yeah, Daniel's not. He's having fun, but he's not. And it gets a little bit worse. And I don't know what the point of this story is necessarily. Maybe we'll talk about that, but crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy is the point, maybe. So they exhume Mercy, and when she passed away, it was winter.
Mm-hmm.
And by the time they exhumed her, it had only been 2 months.
Oh, man.
And so with just the short duration and the cold winter, of course, she was still preserved pretty well. Yeah. And so, of course, they found what they were looking for.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, and it was in an above ground crypt. So there you go. So they're like, cool. We found it. We found the source of the evil spirit. I don't know, Daniel. There's kind of only one way to say this, and it's to say it. Well, what do you do once you find where the spirit's coming from? What are you going to do with that information, right? This is what they did. Barbaric. They removed her heart and liver. They burned them and then mixed the ashes in water and then gave that to Edwin to drink in order to cure his ailments.
What?
That's how they did medicine in New England in 1892.
That's
100% insane.
I'm just saying, like, 1892 is not
it's not that long ago.
No, it's 30 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's a lot of United States history that happened before that too. Dude, we're talking like the World's Fair is happening in Paris. You know what I mean? The Eiffel Tower's built.
Yeah.
You know, we've got the phone. The telephone exists. Like, I'm pretty sure it's close around there, right? Like, this is not like medieval times.
No.
So they were just, they didn't have any answers. So they just were doing what they thought. I don't know.
I just don't understand how people come to that conclusion.
It's just folklore, and they just freak themselves
right. Because like, okay, I understand the heart being part of it because, you know, like life comes from the heart, right?
Yeah.
Why add the liver?
Dude, I don't know. I no idea. This whole thing makes me shake my head.
Dude, I swear it's just somebody's like, oh, I want to do this. Let's just find an excuse to do it kind of thing. Because like,
right? I don't know.
I feel like a rational person would think twice.
Like, this sounds crazy, right? Yes. Everybody? This is crazy and barbaric, right? We shouldn't do this.
Yes.
This is against like everything that we stand for as human beings is like respecting people.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Insanity. I don't know, man. The only thing I can think of. So let me say another few things that are going to frustrate you so bad. At this point, they being a guy called Robert Cook.
Of course, there's a Cook.
Whatever. Yeah, Koch Cook or Coke. What? Coke? I don't know. I think they said Coke in all the things I listened to.
Oh,
whatever. That guy
English.
That guy in like the 1870s, 20 years before this, he had discovered and let the whole world know that tuberculosis was caused by a bacteria. Germ theory was confirmed, and they had proof that tuberculosis was caused by a bacteria.
Just stop.
So why would you do this?
This guy that's in this town that knows?
Presumably. But so then the question is, well, why on earth would they why on earth would they not? Why are they doing this?
Yeah.
Let me tell you this too. Old Robert, when he found the source, was working on a vaccine. Okay, seems natural enough. Find a way to kill the bacteria and save the people. Good idea. He came up with one and was like, cool, we did it. And people like went crazy to get it, whatever. Turns out it didn't work like how everyone thought it did, including like himself. So it was a vaccine, but it did not work. And it was a really good way to identify if somebody had tuberculosis, which sounds crazy, but like if they would inject you and if you had a reaction, it means you had tuberculosis because your body's attacking it, right? It recognizes it and is attacking it. If you didn't, it's like dead cells, right?
Right.
That's how most vaccines work. If you didn't have TB and you were injected with it, you would not have a reaction and you also would not contract the disease. So that's kind of how it worked. So it ended up being a really good tool for diagnosis, but it was not for treating.
Okay.
So that came out later and basically totally disgraced this guy. And he basically died a loser because he lied to the world, basically.
Yeah.
Even maybe he didn't mean to, maybe he did. I don't know. So at this point, these people know that this guy just discovered that it's bacteria, that there was a vaccine. The vaccine didn't work. So these guys did not have an answer. They didn't have anything practical. They didn't have the knowledge, the medical knowledge behind how things worked. Maybe it's a bacteria. What does that even mean? It's just a little thing I can't see. Okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense, right?
Yeah.
And then, not to mention, the thing that is supposed to fix it doesn't work. So we're going to do this.
Right.
Because we got to do something. So that's how they did it. That's how they did it back then. So look, let me tell you a few more things too.
Okay.
This one is actually super interesting. The guy who debunked the efficacy of the original vaccine was none other than Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, the guy who wrote Sherlock Holmes.
Oh, really?
Yep. And that's basically why he started writing Sherlock Holmes, because at that time, he was kind of a physician of some sorts.
Okay.
I mean, at this point, there was very little you could do to gain insight as to what is happening on the inside of a human body.
Yeah.
Like they didn't really understand how the human body worked. Like the stethoscope wasn't invented until like the mid 1800s, let alone like X-rays and any other kind of image, like anything, right?
Right.
You could barely tell what's going on inside. Like, so there's a lot of kind of guesswork. So at that point in time, physicians were more like detectives than they were like doctors.
Yeah.
And so Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, being a physician, was really he's very good at logical deduction. And so he went and like studied how this, like, okay, this is what the vaccine does. This is what it comes from. This is how people are reacting, blah, blah, blah. And he basically came up with the fact like it's not working.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's why it disgraced. How did I say his name? Coke. It disgraced Coke and made him famous. And so then he started writing the Sherlock Holmes book about a guy who is really good at logical deduction.
Yeah.
So there you go. So Sherlock Holmes is invented because of tuberculosis. Everything is tuberculosis. So here's the last thing about this really, really, really devastating story. The father, it's George Brown.
So close.
So close.
So close.
George Brown, he never got TB. He died in 1922. I think it was the same year that an actual functional vaccine that does work was invented and distributed. So he lived long enough, just long enough to see the cure to the disease that took his family.
So the little boy passed away as well?
He did. He maybe somewhat related to the nasty concoction that they made him drink. He had TB. He was a goner. But yeah, he died 2 months after all of that happened. So just a terrible, awful, tragic story.
No kidding.
But that's what was going on in the late 1800s. So not a very fun story.
No.
Crazy, fascinating, compelling. I don't know. That's the one that I started with, and I was like, haha, vampires in New England. They're dumb. That's funny. And then I did studying on tuberculosis, and I'm like, that is horrible, tragic.
Yeah.
Like, what a really, really, really sad thing. And so I probably delivered it in more of a sad way than I would have originally.
Right.
But I still find it interesting.
Yeah.
Man, it's history, man.
Because I totally understand, like, exhuming a body to study it because you want to progress forward. You want to understand the thing. But exuding a body to desecrate it, like, that's
no. And to torture this poor family.
Right.
Ugh. Awful.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry to everybody out there that was not expecting that kind of story.
Yeah.
I just think it's very interesting that that's part of like American history.
Yeah.
And it's not that long ago.
No, it's not. Like,
it's really not that long ago.
That's what our grandparents. No.
Maybe great. Depending on how things shake up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is going on at like, yeah, I don't know. Crazy.
Insane.
Yeah. So I think that's all I want to say about that story.
Yeah.
There's one loose end that I think I should tie up with you before we go too long here.
Okay.
Fashion.
Oh, right. Let's go.
Which I think is, I'm shaking my head and doing weird things with my face too, because all of this is just crazy stuff. Okay. So I already kind of told you about like how folks thought it was kind of a genetic thing and like passed down, and you know, going from like artist to artist and writer to writer and poetry and all this stuff, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it kind of got to the point where it was kind of like a badge of honor. You know what I mean? There was
a badge of honor to have TB.
Yeah. So people at that point were like the tragic life of an artist. And like these guys were like rock stars kind of at that time. Right. Mm-hmm. So even like people like Chopin, he died of tuberculosis.
Mm-hmm.
I think Franz Liszt, some actual composers, John Keats, the Bronte sisters, who wrote like Wuthering Heights, and artists, right?
Yeah.
Authors. Lord Byron. I don't know if that sounds familiar to you. He was a poet.
Isn't Lord Byron something from Game of Thrones?
I don't know. Maybe that's probably where they got it from. He was kind of he's a poet, but he was like a kind of a snide dude. It's a very interesting story on him. But anyway, he did not die of TB. He basically wrote like, darn it, if only I had TB, then I would have lived the life of a legend or something like that. Like, he was really full of himself.
Huh.
And he was like super disappointed that he didn't die of TB.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's kind of how it started. It started drifting that way, especially in European places. It got to the point where they were calling it the White Plague,
mm-hmm.
to where it was like affecting just like white people. Very weird. And and that's not how it works, but that's kind of how Europeans were doing it. And so then they were like, oh, this beautiful white plague kind of sort of thing. Well, let me tell you this. So it's called like Victorian chic, or consumptive chic is kind of the name for it. Ladies at the time would basically envy some of the conditions that the body goes through as it's going through the process of being consumed by tuberculosis.
Mm-hmm.
And just, the envy of it. And so they said that there's like a certain glow to these people, to these poor people. And they would try to mimic aspects of that. And so, Daniel, they would lighten their face. They'd put foundation on their face. They'd make their cheeks rosy, and they'd make their eyes dark. Does that sound familiar to you? Yeah. Ladies do their makeup to look like they have tuberculosis.
I hate the fashion industry.
How insane is that? Why do you think eyeshadow is? It's to make you look like a corpse. And the flush, rosy cheeks and yeah. I mean, at the time, like Victorian, they're really powdering their faces and stuff like that. But I mean, the idea kind of sticks around a little bit. It's really not so much like that anymore, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Not as far as I know. Maybe some people like that. I don't know. But red lips, blush on your cheeks, and dark eyes is absolutely that way because people envied the look of folks dying from consumption.
That's insane.
And the one it's been somewhat debunked, but they also said that like corsets at the time were also meant to mimic the body as the same thing, to make you look skinnier and frail. And they basically idolize the weakness, but that's been debunked since then, and it's not necessarily attributed directly to tuberculosis.
Okay.
And why is that a thing though? And it's because folks with tuberculosis, it basically shuts off any desire. Like you don't get hungry, so you don't eat if you've got tuberculosis, and so you lose a tremendous amount of weight. You're emaciated. You're very malnourished. Yeah, and so that idea of the frailty and the weakness and like the gauntness of skin, that's kind of where like European and Western ideologies started to shift from like to the idea of like the idea of what looks beautiful is when they started going towards like the thinner, weaker looking people, like men and women. Yeah, they're like meekness, weakness, frailty is more beautiful than like full bodied or whatever. That comes from tuberculosis, which I'm speechless. Yeah. I mean, a lot of this I'm speechless about. Yeah. Yeah. It kind of does seem like everything is tuberculosis.
Yeah. It's funny because it's not funny, but it's like the same people that have the privilege not to go through this want to go through this.
Yeah. And it's like, how insane is that? It's not like that anymore. Yeah. It's not like that anymore. So, but at the time, right. I don't know if it was just it's such a difficult thing to escape anyway. Like the likelihood that you're going to get is pretty good. Yeah. And so it was like, don't try to run away from it kind of sort of thing. Try to idealize it, because then maybe it's not a bad thing anymore. I don't know. The psychology behind it is crazy.
Oh, I'm sure we could dive into that forever.
Dude, I don't even begin to understand. Yes. But that's how it worked. Yeah. The good news with an asterisk, I will say, Daniel, as we kind of taper off here, TB is absolutely treatable. There is a cure. It can be eradicated, but it's not. So that's the asterisk. Because there's no reason it couldn't go away completely, entirely, and never come back. It's mostly just an access to the treatments. Yeah. And that's a really, really sad story that I kind of don't want to get into right now. Yeah. Because I don't think that's very fun. Yeah, for sure. I think everybody kind of knows what I'm getting at. Yeah. So and I'm I'm almost tapped out of the like. I know. I'm worried. I'm wearing you out, and I'm worried about the listeners. No, and if you've made it this far, I'm so sorry, and I'm so thankful that you're still here. Yeah, definitely. I mean, like, I think it's worth knowing. It's worth knowing all these things, because it's things that have happened in our history. Not only like you said, maybe we personally don't know anybody, but I mean, 130 years ago when it was very prevalent, that's not that long ago. Yeah. So, yeah. And the things that can happen when like people come together to find a solution
Mm-hmm.
is pretty incredible.
Yep.
It's like all you need is the time, the resources, and the motivation to go do it. And I mean, yeah, they figured it out.
Mm-hmm.
They figured it out. So hopefully there is a world sometime in the future where it's not so much of a problem anymore. So
Yeah.
I will say this. I told you 1,250,000 people in a year will pass away from tuberculosis. In the United States, it's 500. In Japan, it's 1,000.
Hmm.
And there's other places that struggle far, far, far more than first world countries.
Yeah.
So here's to hoping that things get better everywhere for this and for everything else.
For
right?
sure. Yeah.
So, thanks for hanging with me.
Of course.
This might be our most downer episode yet.
But still, I mean, very informational. There was some fun aspects of it. But I am very intrigued to go read the book. I know that you have your audiobooks, but I just use Libby,
Yeah.
So unfortunately there's 130 people in front of me.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I'll tell you this. You have Spotify Premium?
Yeah, I believe so.
Are you the account holder?
My wife is.
I think it only works for the account holder, but it's free on Spotify.
Oh,
It's included.
I'll check it out.
I don't know how Spotify works. It's kind of strange.
I don't either.
I think I get it, but I don't know if anybody else on my plan does.
I mean, either way, I'm pretty sure because they tend to go pretty, like you said, it's 6 hours, right?
Yeah.
So
you might burn through the list of 800.
Yeah, pretty darn quickly.
But
last time I did it, I think it was for the Bright Sword or whatever.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That one. And I was like 1,300 people in front of me in 3 weeks. I was like, oh, you're in the top 50. I'm like, okay.
So it'll pop up at some point.
Yeah.
So
and now it's a much longer book than.
Yeah. Yeah. So this one should go pretty quick. But I found that book just incredibly very truthful, very hopeful, enlightening, touching, sad, moving, just beautiful.
Yeah.
And it just was, for a nonfiction book, there was times where I was like, I can't listen to this. I can't do this.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, I have to. This is a beautiful, beautiful story. Yeah. And it's a pretty emotional roller coaster ride through the nonfiction, which just is crazy. Yeah. I think it's a brilliant, brilliant, brilliant book. A very, very good read. So I hope that you do read it.
And
I hope the folks out there take a listen. It's really, I think maybe this is what I came away the most with, Daniel, and why I did still want to do this episode is that I think in many ways it's increased my empathy towards, I'm lucky as all get out. I got a lot of good stuff going for me. Mm-hmm. And I know a lot of people, even in my life, there's a lot of people I don't know that are struggling with whatever, right? So many things. And I think this helped me open my eyes a little bit more and just giving me an opportunity to be more empathetic to my loved ones, the ones that are really close to me, but to strangers, to people that I don't know, because I don't know, there's a lot of people going through some really, really difficult stuff, and we're incredibly fortunate.
I would agree.
I think very, very thankful for reading that book. Very empathetic, a little bit more sensitive. Yeah. Yeah. So it was a bit of a tough read. Super good. Yeah. And that's what we're here to do, to learn it. We never said it was going to be all daisies and did we promise a comedy podcast? It's listed as comedy on Spotify, but we never told you that. Yeah. 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 This is our show. Yeah,
exactly.
Daniel's going to make me cry next week.
I hope not.
Oh, dude. Because you know your topic. Yeah. We're going to talk about go-karts. No.
And how they're ruining the world.
No. Oh my gosh. So anyway, thank you. This was a bit of a long one. I really appreciate everybody sticking with us. I hope you had fun tonight. I hope you learned something. I hope that maybe you take something else with you that you didn't have before. And I hope you come back next week too. But man, I really, really enjoyed doing my research on this one. Like you said last time, it is a joy to go and learn.
Mhm.
It's a joy to do this with you, Daniel. So
Yeah.
thank you. And just remember, just go do your own research and always stay curious.
Outro song. Woo woo boo boo.
Woohoo.
Hey everybody, we just like to take a moment to thank everybody out there that has thus far supported us. We do all these recordings and we love doing it. We have fun doing it, but we are paying out of our own pocket, but it does help when people like Liz D, Seth T, Irvin H, DaDog, Mouse T, and Kirk K help us make this little podcast a reality and, lighten the load a little bit. So thank you from both of us and all of the fans. Thank you for helping us make this a reality. And if you guys want to help be part of the Doing Learning crew, you can do so by going to www.patreon.com/Doing Learning. I don't know why I said www.